Imagine standing in a crowded room. People are laughing, talking, sharing their stories, their successes. Everyone is visible, loud, proud, and then there's you, quietly working, hidden, focused, unknown, invisible to the applause, unnoticed in the noise. Yet, inside, there's a storm of creation. Ideas, strategies, and dreams take shape in silence. Every action you take is a brick in a fortress. No one sees. Every day you grow stronger, smarter, sharper, while the world chases attention. Here's the truth. The world celebrates those who announce victory, not those who prepare for it. But those who work quietly, unseen, who master themselves in solitude, eventually command the world in ways others can't even imagine. This is not about secrecy for the sake of secrecy. This is about focus, discipline, power, control, and the extraordinary advantage that comes from working in silence, away from the noise. By the time you finish this audiobook, you will understand why speaking less, doing more, and letting your results speak for themselves is one of the most potent strategies in life. You'll learn how to harness silence as a weapon, focus as a discipline, and patience as a secret ally. The journey begins now. Chapter 1. The Power of Silence. There is a sound louder than words, a force more commanding than any speech, and yet it is nearly invisible. You cannot measure it with decibels. You cannot see it flash across a screen. It is the quiet pulse of focus, the invisible engine behind every achievement that truly matters. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture a room filled with people talking, arguing, sharing their plans, their victories, their frustrations. Each voice is demanding attention. Each story competes to be heard. And in the corner of that room, there is someone who says nothing. They do not explain. They do not boast. They simply work. Their hands move. Their mind moves. And though they are unseen, everything around them begins to shift. This is the first secret of success that almost no one tells you. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is power. It is the calm before the storm of accomplishment. It is the invisible scaffold on which great lives are built. Why does this matter? Because the world has become addicted to noise. We are trained to speak early, to announce intentions, to share every thought and every plan. We confuse attention with progress. We mistake visibility for value, and in that confusion we scatter our energy, we dilute our power, and we leave our greatest potential exposed to distraction. Think about a seed planted in soil. If it is constantly exposed to the light of judgment, to the wind of opinion, to the frost of doubt, it struggles to grow. But when it is buried in quiet, shielded, nurtured, unseen, it roots deep, and eventually, it breaks through the surface with unstoppable strength. Your work, your ideas, your ambitions, they are no different. Silence allows you to reclaim your energy. Every word you speak is a transfer of power. Every explanation you offer before the work is done is a negotiation with your own momentum. When you stop speaking before your results are ready, you give away pieces of your advantage. You give away your focus. You give away your potential. And yet, so few of us understand this. So few of us resist the urge to announce, to explain, to justify. Because there is comfort in visibility. There is a fleeting sense of validation when someone nods or praises our intentions, but that comfort is fleeting. The real reward, the true lasting victory, lives in silence. Imagine a sculptor in their studio. Day after day, they chip away at marble, sweat on their brow, muscles sore, hands raw, and no one knows, no one applauds. And yet each strike, each measured movement, builds something magnificent. The day the sculpture is revealed, the world sees perfection, and it astonishes because it came from the quiet, disciplined labor that no one witnessed. This is the essence of silent power. The work is done first. Recognition comes last. There is a spiritual rhythm to this. Silence teaches patience. Silence teaches humility. Silence teaches inner trust. When you rely on the applause of others, you tether your self-worth to external forces. When you work quietly, you tether yourself to a deeper truth. Your effort matters because it creates results, not because someone else validates it. And let's be clear, this does not mean isolation. It does not mean secrecy for secrecy's sake. It means selective exposure. It means protecting your energy. It means choosing carefully when, where, and how you reveal your work. It means understanding that timing is as critical as talent. A word spoken too soon can dilute months of preparation. A result revealed at the wrong moment can be misunderstood. But a result revealed at the right moment, after the work has ripened, is unforgettable. Silence is also a form of strategy. Those who shout first often scatter the herd. They broadcast their weaknesses along with their strength. But those who move quietly, deliberately, intentionally, they confuse competitors, they create mystery. They make the world underestimate them, even as they grow stronger, smarter, and more prepared. There is an advantage in being underestimated. The element of surprise is the reward of the silent. Ask yourself this. How many times have you shared your intentions with someone only to have them react with doubt, criticism, or distraction? How many ideas have been diluted? How many projects delayed because you sought approval too early? The lesson is clear. The less you say, the more you gain. The quieter you work, the louder your results will ultimately speak. But silence is not passive. It is not laziness. It is active discipline. It is deliberate engagement with your goals. It is focused action, without the crutch of applause. It is the courage to work when no one is watching, knowing that what you are building will one day be undeniable. In this first chapter, I want you to understand something profound. Your power is amplified by what you keep private. Your progress is protected by what you choose not to share. And your potential is realized by the effort you commit when no one else is paying attention. You are now at the threshold of a transformation. The work ahead will require patience, focus, and a willingness to move in the shadows before stepping into the light. And if you embrace this principle, if you choose silence over noise, you will find that your mind becomes sharper, your actions more precise, and your victories far more potent than anything you have experienced before. So take this moment, breathe, feel the weight of your intention. Understand that every step you take in quiet focus is a step toward a life that will speak for itself. You are planting seeds. You are laying foundations. You are building an empire in silence, and the world will marvel when it emerges. In the next chapter, we will explore the true cost of attention and why every word you speak can either drain your power or multiply it. The lesson will reveal how to protect your energy in a world designed to scatter it, and how to invest it in the actions that truly matter. Step forward, quietly, with intention. Listen to the rhythm of your own focus. The journey has only just begun, and the path ahead is already shaping itself in the stillness of your work. Chapter 2. Attention is a currency. Every glance, every word, every moment you give to the world carries a cost. Your attention is not infinite. It is precious, delicate, and easily depleted. And yet, most of us spend it recklessly, scattering it across distractions, opinions, and the noise of other people's agendas. Imagine standing in a busy market. Every stall calls out for your gaze. Bright colors, flashing signs, urgent voices. You can't take it all in. Your mind can't handle it all. Each second you spend here is a choice. Where will your focus go, and what will you lose in the process? The same principle applies to your life. Every time you explain your plans, justify your intentions, or seek approval, you are spending attention you can never get back. You are giving away energy that could have been invested in the creation of something extraordinary. And the truth is, Once attention is spent, it cannot be reclaimed. It is gone, like water spilled on dry ground. Consider this: people who talk about their goals constantly are often the least likely to achieve them. Their energy leaks into conversation, into validation seeking, into defending their ideas before they are fully formed. Meanwhile, those who protect their attention, who guard their focus as a sacred resource, move forward quietly, deliberately, invisibly, and when the results appear, they are undeniable. No explanations needed. No applause required. The work speaks for itself. Attention is a currency that buys influence, clarity, and progress. The more carefully you invest it, the greater the returns. But if you spend it recklessly, on gossip, distractions, or the approval of others, you impoverish yourself. You dilute your power. You scatter your potential across the wind. Think of a master chess player. Every move is measured. Every thought is calculated. Every piece is positioned with precision. There is no wasted motion, no unnecessary display. The game is won in the mind long before it is visible on the board, and your life operates in the same way. Attention carefully guarded is strategy in action. Now reflect on the last time you shared an unfinished idea with someone. Perhaps you hoped for encouragement, maybe even praise. Instead, you received doubt, distraction, or advice that confused you more than it helped. That is the cost of giving your attention too early. When you invest your energy in other people's responses before your work is complete, you risk losing control over your own journey. But there is hope, and it comes from conscious choice. You can decide where your attention goes. You can choose what deserves your energy and what doesn't. You can learn to protect the quiet inner space where your vision grows, where your ideas evolve, where your craft is refined without interruption. The power of this choice becomes obvious when you begin to notice how much time and energy others unconsciously demand. The casual conversation that drains you, the opinion that clouds your judgment, the news, notifications, and endless commentary that fragment your mind. Each of these is an invisible tax on your attention, and each can be avoided when you value your focus as you should. Attention, when protected, becomes freedom. Freedom to think clearly, act decisively, and build relentlessly. Freedom to grow without seeking validation. Freedom to prepare your life in silence, away from the judgment and noise of the world. The world rewards results, not words, and attention is the tool that allows you to shape those results before anyone sees them. Here is a truth that is often overlooked. The less you reveal, the more you maintain control over your destiny. The more quietly you operate, the sharper your influence becomes, and the more you conserve your attention, the more power you accumulate silently, invisibly, but undeniably. This principle is not theoretical. It is practical, applicable, and transformative. Start noticing where your attention goes each day. Ask yourself, am I giving it to something that creates value or to something that distracts me from it? Am I spending my energy defending my intentions, or am I investing it in the work itself? Am I speaking too soon, or moving with quiet precision? As you begin to protect your attention, you will notice something remarkable. Your focus deepens. Your clarity grows. Your capacity to create and to act multiplies. You become the master of your inner world, rather than a servant to external noise. And that mastery translates into results. Real, tangible, and undeniable results. The most successful people do not broadcast every step of their journey. They understand that attention is finite and that results are earned in silence. They know that the world will notice the outcome, not the effort before its time. and they move through life with the quiet confidence that comes from disciplined focus, energy carefully allocated, and intention fully aligned with action. Now imagine what this could mean for your own life. What would happen if every ounce of your attention was invested wisely? If every word you spoke, every thought you shared, every action you took was measured and purposeful? The possibilities are staggering. Opportunities you never noticed would become clear. Progress you never imagined would unfold. And when the world finally witnesses your results, they will be struck not only by what you achieved, but by the invisible discipline that made it possible. As we move forward in this journey, you will learn how to guard your energy, how to focus without distraction, and how to convert the currency of attention into unshakable power. You will discover that the quiet, deliberate allocation of your attention is not just a habit, it is a strategy for life, a method for creation, and a pathway to enduring success. In the next chapter, we will explore the illusion of approval, the subtle ways in which seeking validation undermines your growth, and how embracing self-reliance and inner trust creates a foundation for unstoppable progress. You will see why true strength lies not in applause, but in the discipline to keep moving, even when no one is watching. For now, hold this thought close. Attention is the most valuable currency you possess. Spend it carefully, guard it fiercely, and use it to build a life that will speak louder than any explanation ever could. The journey continues, and the deeper lessons await just beyond this chapter, ready to transform the way you see your work, your energy, and your world. Chapter 3: The Illusion of Approval. There is a quiet, subtle trap that almost every human being falls into at some point in life: the need for approval. It begins innocently, almost imperceptibly. A nod, a smile, a compliment. It feels good. It makes us feel seen, validated, even safe. But over time, seeking approval becomes a silent thief, stealing focus, energy, and the very freedom to act with authenticity. Picture a bird in a gilded cage. The bars are polished, the light is bright, and the world outside seems visible but unreachable. Every time the bird seeks reassurance from the observer, it flutters nervously, adjusting its posture, its song, its flight, never fully free. Seeking approval is that cage. It makes you bend to the expectations of others, even when they conflict with your own vision. The truth is, approval is fleeting. Praise is temporary, recognition is conditional, and if you build your life around it, you are building on sand. When your sense of worth depends on the applause of others, you are surrendering control over your most important asset, yourself. Consider the young artist who shares every sketch, every idea, every rough draft online, hoping for praise. The comments come, some encouraging, some critical, some indifferent. With each reaction, the artist adjusts, modifies, hesitates. The creative spark, once wild and free, becomes filtered, diluted, second-guessed. By seeking approval, the artist trades originality for acceptance, and the work loses its true power. Now imagine another scenario. A writer sits alone in a quiet room, away from opinions, away from judgment. They write with no one watching. They create because the act itself matters. They shape their words, not for validation, but for mastery. And when the work is complete, it emerges fully formed, resonant, and unstoppable. No one needed to witness the process. The work does not ask for permission. It commands attention on its own terms. This is the fundamental lesson. Approval is an illusion. It tempts you with comfort, yet it binds you with subtle chains. It distracts you from the inner compass that knows what is necessary, what is meaningful, and what is truly valuable. When you relinquish the need for external validation, you reclaim your power. You create without hesitation. You act with clarity. You grow without interference. It takes courage to step away from the applause, to resist the urge to explain, to justify, to perform for others, to work quietly, relentlessly, without a single witness. But that courage is the cornerstone of independence. It is the foundation on which extraordinary lives are built. Think of a river carving its path through stone. It does not ask permission from the mountain. It does not seek acknowledgement from the forest. It moves forward with patience, persistence, and quiet force, shaping the landscape over time. Approval, like the opinions of the crowd, has no power over the river. The only force that matters is the direction and strength of its flow. Every time you act to please others, to earn nods, to chase applause, you divert a portion of that flow. You slow your progress. You compromise your vision, and you risk building a life that reflects the expectations of strangers rather than the truth of your own potential. So how do you break free? First, you must recognize the illusion for what it is. Approval is not inherently wrong, but it is external. It is a reflection of someone else's perspective, not your value. You cannot base your worth on something so fragile and changeable. You must separate your actions from their reception. Work for the sake of work. Build for the sake of mastery. Strive for excellence because the process itself transforms you. Second, you must embrace self-trust. Your inner compass is stronger than any applause, louder than any criticism, and more consistent than any praise. Learn to listen to it, follow it, obey it. When your actions align with your deepest intentions, the external world becomes irrelevant. The validation that truly matters is internal, and it carries a weight that no fleeting approval can ever match. Third, cultivate patience. The world often rewards those who wait, those who resist the temptation to announce, explain, or justify before the work is complete. The longer you can sustain your efforts in silence, the greater the impact when the results emerge. Approval becomes a byproduct, not a prerequisite. Recognition comes naturally to those who have earned it, rather than those who demand it. Consider the story of inventors, entrepreneurs, and artists throughout history. Their early years are often invisible, marked by solitude and quiet labor. Few witness the struggles, the failures, the late nights, the relentless experimentation. Yet, when their work finally emerges, it commands attention effortlessly, because it is grounded in substance, not performance. The need for approval was irrelevant. Their results spoke louder than any explanation could. This chapter is a reminder that seeking validation too early is a form of surrender. It hands control of your energy, your focus, and your sense of worth to forces outside your command. But the moment you stop chasing approval, something remarkable happens. You reclaim your attention, you strengthen your focus, and you allow your work to evolve organically, without interference. Imagine how it would feel to act without fear of judgment, to create without expectation, to move forward knowing that your value does not fluctuate with applause or criticism. That freedom is transformative. It clears the path for true growth, authentic achievement, and profound satisfaction. As we continue this journey, keep in mind that approval is a tool, not a measure. Use it selectively, when it aligns with your goals, but never let it dictate your path. Learn to trust yourself, to honor your process, and to embrace the quiet discipline that fosters extraordinary outcomes. In the next chapter, we will explore the skill of mastering focus in a world built for distraction. You will discover practical methods for protecting your mind, sharpening your attention, and creating a sanctuary where ideas can flourish without interruption. The lessons will deepen your understanding of silent work and show how concentration becomes an unstoppable force. For now, remember this: approval is tempting, but fleeting. Freedom is quiet, patient, and internal. True power lies in trusting yourself, moving in silence, and letting results speak louder than words ever could. The journey continues, and the next step is already unfolding. Chapter 4. Mastering Focus in a Distracted World. Have you ever felt your mind being pulled in 100 directions at once? The phone buzzing, the news flashing, messages piling up, voices demanding your attention. You try to think, to work, to create, but every second something tugs at your energy, scattering it like dry leaves in the wind. This is not just distraction, it is a battlefield. Every fragment of your attention that is stolen by the world is a fragment of your potential lost. Every moment spent responding to noise is a moment taken from the work that could transform your life. And yet, most people surrender to it without realizing the cost. Focus is not convenience. It is a skill, a discipline, a choice. It is the ability to say no to everything that does not serve your vision, to protect the sanctuary of your mind, and to act with clarity even when the world is trying to pull you apart. Imagine a sculptor at work in a storm. Wind howls, rain pelts down, people scream from the streets, trying to distract him. And yet he continues chiseling, each strike precise, deliberate, unwavering. That is focus, that is mastery, that is how greatness is forged. To master focus, you must first understand the nature of distraction. Distractions are seductive. They offer immediate satisfaction, tiny bursts of stimulation, and the illusion of progress. Social media likes, emails answered, conversations entertained. They feel productive, but they fragment your energy and steal your clarity. Every interruption is a tax on your mind, and the more you pay, the weaker your work becomes. The first step to reclaiming focus is awareness. Notice where your attention goes each day. Track the moments when you feel scattered, tired, or mentally drained. Identify the sources of noise that seep into your mind and sap your energy. Once you can see the problem, you can begin to control it. Next, create boundaries. The world will always demand you, but you do not have to answer every call, read every message, or react to every opinion. Protect your time as if it were gold, because it is. Set limits, schedule deep work sessions, and give yourself the permission to exist in silence. The more you protect your focus, the more your results will grow. Another essential practice is clarity of purpose. When your mind is anchored to a clear goal, distractions lose their grip. A person who knows exactly what they want can navigate the storm of noise with ease. Every choice, every action becomes intentional. You no longer drift, you move. Every moment of attention is invested in the creation of something meaningful. Consider the power of single tasking. It is tempting to multitask, to think we are more productive when we juggle dozens of responsibilities at once. But the truth is, multitasking is a thief of attention. Depth cannot coexist with scattered focus. The mind that hones in on one task at a time grows sharper, more efficient, more creative. Results flourish in the presence of concentrated effort. Focus is also about presence. The mind that dwells on the past or frets about the future is not fully engaged in the moment. True focus is the ability to immerse yourself in the now, to engage completely with the task at hand, to inhabit your work with clarity and purpose. Presence transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary outcomes. And then there is resilience, the ability to return to focus again and again, even when the world pulls at you. Distractions are inevitable, interruptions will come, the mind will wander, but mastery is measured not by perfection, but by persistence. Each time you redirect your attention, you strengthen the muscle of focus. Each time you resist noise, you reclaim a fragment of your power. Here is a truth few understand. Your attention is your most valuable resource. Wealth, success, and personal growth are not defined by the hours in a day, but by the quality of the attention you invest in each hour. A distracted mind produces shallow results. A focused mind produces brilliance, and brilliance emerges silently, in the depth of concentrated effort, far from the applause of the crowd. Focus is also liberating. When you control your attention, you control your life. You decide what matters, who matters, and how your energy is spent. You step out of reaction and into creation. The world may scream for your attention, but you choose where it flows. That choice is freedom. That choice is power. Let me give you a simple practice. Start each day by defining your intention. Identify the one or two outcomes that matter most. Protect your attention fiercely. When distractions arise, and they will remind yourself why you are here, what you are building, and how every second counts. Focus is not just about work, it is about honoring your own potential. Imagine the person who masters this skill. They move through life with quiet confidence, undisturbed by noise. Their work is deeper, their decisions clearer, their results undeniable. They are not frantic, not reactive, they are deliberate, and in their stillness, they achieve what others can only chase frantically in chaos. Focus, like silence, is a choice. It is cultivated, it is protected, it is defended against every temptation of distraction. And those who master it find that the world bends to their intention. Their energy multiplies, their results resonate, their life becomes a testament to what disciplined attention can create. As we move forward, remember, mastering focus is not an act of isolation, it is an act of self-mastery. It allows you to act decisively, create with clarity, and move with purpose, even when the world demands your mind elsewhere. In the next chapter, we will explore the art of strategic silence, the deliberate choice to reveal your plans only when the timing is right, and how that discipline can multiply your influence and protect your vision. You will learn why some of the most powerful people in history achieved so much without announcing a single step along the way. For now, commit to reclaiming your attention. Protect it, nurture it, and invest it with intention. Focus is the foundation on which all silent victories are built. And the deeper you go into this discipline, the closer you come to creating results that speak for themselves, without explanation, without approval, and without apology. The journey continues, and the next lesson is waiting to reveal a level of mastery few ever experience. Chapter 5: The Art of Strategic Silence. There is a power that lies not in speaking, but in withholding, a strength found in restraint, a force more potent than explanation, more commanding than persuasion. This is the art of strategic silence, the deliberate choice to remain quiet, even when every instinct urges you to announce, justify, or defend. Imagine a general standing on the battlefield. The enemy watches his movements, anticipating, guessing, trying to predict his strategy. He does not reveal his next move. He does not explain his plans. He does not seek applause or reassurance. Instead, he waits. He observes. He positions his forces silently. And when the moment is right, he strikes. And the outcome is decisive, undeniable, and complete. That is the essence of strategic silence. In our daily lives, we are surrounded by people who speak too soon, who reveal too much, who broadcast intentions before the work is done. They hope for encouragement, recognition, or influence. And in doing so, they dilute their power. Every word spoken before the result is achieved is an opportunity for distraction, doubt, and misinterpretation. Silence, in contrast, preserves energy, focus, and authority. Consider the creator who finishes a project in solitude. Months of planning, refining, and perfecting go unseen, and then, when the time is right, the work is unveiled. The world does not see the struggle, it sees the result. The impact is magnified because there was no premature explanation, no need for justification, no attempt to sway opinion before it mattered. Silence amplified the effect. Strategic silence is not passivity. It is not avoidance. It is active, deliberate, and disciplined. It requires patience and self-trust. It demands that you believe in your work, even when no one else does. It means prioritizing action over commentary, results over validation, and progress over recognition. There is a subtle magic in this practice. The world overestimates those who talk and underestimates those who act. When you move quietly, deliberately, and with purpose, people notice only the outcome, and the outcome carries far more weight than words ever could. The contrast between silence and noise creates authority, presence, and influence. Think of the inventor in the lab, the entrepreneur in their office, the writer at their desk. They work while the world talks. They act while the world debates. And when they reveal their creation, it astonishes, precisely because no one saw it coming. Strategic silence allows your work to speak with clarity, confidence, and undeniable power. This is also a lesson in timing. Knowing when to speak and when to remain silent is one of the rarest and most valuable skills in life. Speak too early and your influence diminishes. Speak too late and opportunity slips away. But master the rhythm of timing and your words become sharp, precise, and transformative. Silence, then, is not absence. It is preparation, positioning, and strategy. Another aspect of strategic silence is emotional control. When you withhold reaction, when you resist the urge to respond impulsively to criticism, gossip, or provocation, you gain perspective. You retain authority over your mind, your choices, and your energy. Silence grants you clarity. It allows you to act rather than react. It is the armor of self-mastery. Strategic silence also teaches others to respect your space and your boundaries. People learn that your attention is not a given, that your words are deliberate, measured, and meaningful. And in that respect, silence becomes a signal of value. When you rarely speak about your intentions, but always deliver results, your credibility multiplies effortlessly. There is a spiritual dimension to this discipline as well. Silence cultivates reflection. It nurtures insight. It deepens understanding. The mind that is quiet is fertile, able to grow ideas, refine vision, and anticipate outcomes with precision. Noise, in contrast, fragments thought, breeds impatience, and obscures judgment. Strategic silence is the soil in which your greatest achievements take root. Now consider how this principle applies to relationships, work, and life. When you resist explaining yourself at every turn, you conserve energy. When you act without seeking validation, you cultivate independence. When you reveal only what is necessary, your influence becomes authentic, measured, and compelling. You become a force that commands attention, not through words, but through results, presence, and restraint. Strategic silence is not easy. It demands courage. It requires resisting the human impulse to broadcast, justify, or perform. It challenges the ego that craves recognition. And yet every time you practice it, you gain power. Quiet, undeniable, and lasting. Begin with small steps. Resist the urge to explain unfinished work. Observe your desire for approval and let it pass without reaction. Practice responding with thoughtfulness rather than impulse. Notice how your presence changes when words are chosen carefully, when silence is intentional, and when results are allowed to emerge without premature announcement. The benefits are profound. Your focus intensifies, your energy is preserved, your influence grows, and your results become far more compelling, precisely because they are the product of patience, discipline, and careful orchestration. As you continue this journey, remember that strategic silence is not isolation, it is power in preparation. It is the quiet force that shapes outcomes, builds authority, and multiplies the impact of your work. Those who master it do not rush to be seen or heard. They let the results of their effort create recognition naturally, inevitably, and impressively. In the next chapter, we will explore the principle of exponential results, the multiplier effect of consistent, focused effort in silence, and how patient discipline transforms small actions into monumental achievement. You will discover how the quiet work you do today can create a ripple that shapes your entire future. For now, hold this lesson close, speak less, act more, and let the timing of your words align with the readiness of your results. Strategic silence is not absent. It is the heartbeat of influence, power, and lasting success. Chapter 6. The multiplier effect of silent effort. Picture a single drop of water falling into a still pond. At first it seems insignificant, a tiny ripple, easily overlooked. Yet, as it spreads outward, the waves touch every corner of the surface, interacting with the environment in ways unseen at the moment of impact. This is the principle of silent effort, the quiet actions you take, the disciplined work you do in solitude, multiplying far beyond what is immediately visible. Most people live as though success is an instant flash, an immediate reward for visible effort. They look for quick results, praise or acknowledgement. But the truth is far subtler, far more powerful. Real achievement is often invisible at first. It begins with small, deliberate acts performed in silence, repeated consistently until they compound into something extraordinary. Imagine the writer who types 1 page a day, the entrepreneur who invests 30 minutes daily refining a business plan, the musician who practices scales relentlessly without fanfare. Day after day, week after week, the work seems minor, almost imperceptible. And yet, over time, the results grow exponentially. A manuscript becomes a book, a plan becomes a thriving company, a practice becomes mastery. The ripple multiplies, touching unseen parts of your future. This is why the loudest, most public efforts are often the least effective. Noise does not equal progress. Display does not equal mastery. Consistency in quiet action is the real engine of transformation. Small, focused actions, repeated without distraction or need for validation, gather momentum in ways no announcement ever could. The multiplier effect is more than just repetition. It is about alignment. Every action you take in quiet focus sends energy into the right direction, feeding the larger vision of your life. Your effort does not exist in isolation. It interacts with the patterns of your mind, the opportunities around you, and the circumstances yet to unfold. The quiet labor you perform today compounds with every choice you make tomorrow. Consider the gardener planting seeds in a hidden corner of the garden. No one watches. There is no applause. Yet when the season turns, the plants flourish, yielding fruit far beyond what anyone expected. The work was silent, but the impact is undeniable. So too with your life. Disciplined, invisible effort produces results that eventually speak louder than words ever could. This principle also applies to personal growth. Every habit you cultivate, every skill you sharpen, every disciplined routine you follow quietly shapes your character. These small, repeated actions do not demand recognition. They shape resilience, focus, and capacity. Over time, they build a version of you that is prepared for opportunities others miss. The multiplier effect of silent effort is not just external. It transforms the person performing it, inside and out. Yet most people abandon the invisible path because they cannot see immediate results. They grow impatient, seeking external validation or shortcut. The lesson is this: true progress is often imperceptible at first. The pond may appear calm, but the ripples are moving. Trust the process. Trust the power of consistent, silent work. Results will arrive, and when they do, they will far exceed the effort that seems small at the moment. The key to harnessing this effect is patience paired with consistency. Show up daily, even when motivation falters. Take the small steps, even when no one notices. Guard your attention, protect your energy, and perform your work with intention. Each drop compounds into a wave. Each effort accumulates into momentum, and before long what once seemed minor becomes monumental. Another aspect of this principle is invisibility as strategy. The more you work in silence, the less resistance you encounter. Fewer opinions distract you, fewer expectations burden you, fewer comparisons pull you off course. Silent effort allows your vision to develop unencumbered, growing organically until it reaches a point of undeniable strength. And when the world finally sees the results, they are powerful precisely because they emerged from patience, not performance. Think of the athletes who train relentlessly before championship day. The weeks, months and years of preparation are mostly invisible to spectators. The effort is unseen, uncelebrated, and quiet. Yet when the moment arrives, the results are stunning. The multiplier effect of disciplined, unseen effort is what separates the remarkable from the ordinary. This is also true in personal relationships, financial growth, and intellectual mastery. Silent, consistent investment, whether in people, knowledge, or skills, creates exponential returns over time. The ripple effect extends far beyond what is visible, touching opportunities, influence, and achievements that were unimaginable at the outset. As you internalize this principle, you begin to see your daily actions differently. No longer do you rely on immediate acknowledgement or external applause to validate your effort. Every choice becomes an investment, every hour a building block, every small act a contribution to the eventual result. Your confidence grows, not because of recognition, but because of the trust you develop in the process itself. The multiplier effect of silent effort is a quiet revolution. It is the principle that allows ordinary people to achieve extraordinary outcomes. It rewards patience, discipline, and persistence. It values alignment over noise, depth over breadth, and action over explanation. And it reminds you that the most powerful results are often those cultivated out of sight, emerging only when the time is right. In the next chapter, we will explore the principle of influence through action, the way silent mastery and consistent effort create authority, trust, and respect that words alone could never achieve. You will learn how the ripple of your unseen work draws people, opportunities, and outcomes toward you naturally, effortlessly, and powerfully. For now, hold this truth close. Every quiet effort you make, every action taken without fanfare, is multiplied. Every moment invested in discipline compounds. Every choice performed with intention grows into impact far beyond your immediate perception. Patience, consistency, and silent work are the hidden forces shaping your future. The journey continues, and the next revelation awaits, ready to show you how influence flows from the unseen mastery you cultivate in silence. Chapter 7. Influence without words. There is a quiet force that moves the world more powerfully than speech. A presence that commands attention, shapes outcomes, and earns respect, not through argument, not through persuasion, not through explanation, but through the simple, undeniable power of consistent action. This is influence without words. Consider the person who never brags about their achievements, who never broadcasts their intentions, yet whose work commands recognition and admiration. Others may talk, speculate, or even doubt, but the results cannot be ignored. The silence surrounding their efforts is not absence, it is authority. Every action they take becomes a statement, every outcome a message far louder than any words could convey. Influence without words begins with mastery of self. Before you can guide others, before you can inspire or lead, you must understand your own mind, your own purpose, and your own boundaries. The world responds not to noise, but to the clarity, confidence, and consistency of those who act with deliberate intention. When you are steady, deliberate, and disciplined, your presence alone communicates competence and authority. This kind of influence is invisible at first, growing quietly like a tree in a forest. It does not seek validation, it does not plead for attention, and it does not compete for recognition. It simply grows, nourished by consistent effort, integrity, and focus. And when it emerges, it is undeniable. People take notice, not because you demanded it, but because your results speak for themselves. Think of the mentor who guides through example rather than instruction. They do not need to explain every choice or justify every decision. Others observe, absorb, and learn, drawn naturally to the clarity of their actions. Influence without words is teaching through presence. It is authority that radiates quietly but unmistakably, like a lighthouse standing firm against the storm. Another aspect of this power is trust. When you speak less and act more, people begin to rely on your consistency rather than your promises. Your credibility grows, not because of your arguments, but because of your results. In business, relationships, or personal endeavors, trust is the currency of influence. Silent mastery builds it steadily, relentlessly, and convincingly. There is also a magnetic quality to influence without words. People are drawn to those who act with purpose and integrity, without seeking attention. Your work becomes a beacon, attracting the right opportunities, the right allies, and the right circumstances. And the more you invest in quiet action, the stronger that magnetic pull becomes. It is subtle, yet profound, and it transforms your life in ways words alone cannot achieve. This principle also teaches patience. Influence is not instantaneous. It is cultivated over time, through repeated effort, deliberate choices, and disciplined action. The world may not recognize your work immediately, and often it will appear invisible, yet the accumulation of your efforts compounds. Each silent step builds momentum, each quiet choice fortifies your presence, and eventually the impact is undeniable, overwhelming, and permanent. Consider the leaders who changed history quietly before the world knew their names. They acted first, planned carefully, and let results speak. Their influence was not broadcast, it was earned. And when the world finally witnessed the outcomes, it had no choice but to recognize the power that had quietly grown in silence. Influence without words also requires discernment. Not every voice deserves your attention. Not every opinion warrants a response. By filtering distractions, avoiding unnecessary debates, and conserving energy for meaningful action, you amplify your impact. Silence allows you to observe, learn, and respond only when your actions will have maximum effect. The result is authority that feels effortless, natural, and inevitable. There is a subtle humility in this approach. It is not about ego or recognition. It is about alignment with purpose, mastery of self, and the understanding that results, not proclamations, create influence. The world may be loud, chaotic, and opinionated, but those who cultivate silent mastery rise above the noise. They lead without shouting. They inspire without explanation. They influence without ever speaking a word. And influence without words is deeply free. You are no longer bound by the need to explain, defend, or justify. You move through life with intentionality, guided by purpose rather than expectation. Others may chatter, judge, or speculate, but your path remains clear, undisturbed, and powerful. The energy you save from speaking unnecessarily is reinvested in action, and action is the truest form of influence. Every action, no matter how small, carries the potential to influence. A kind gesture performed consistently, a disciplined routine maintained in quiet, a skill honed patiently over time. The ripple effect touches people, opportunities, and circumstances far beyond your immediate awareness. And because your efforts are deliberate, the influence they generate is precise, authentic, and lasting. As you practice this principle, you will notice subtle shifts. People begin to seek your guidance naturally. Your work earns admiration without promotion. Opportunities align with your path. And most importantly, you begin to understand the true power of restraint. That influence comes not from speaking louder than others, but from moving with clarity, purpose, and unwavering focus. In the next chapter, we will explore the power of resilience in silence, the ability to persist, endure, and grow without external validation or applause. You will learn how quiet perseverance shapes character, strengthens focus, and ensures that your efforts, though unseen, never go to waste. For now, remember this: influence is not measured by volume, but by impact. Speak less, act more. Let your results, your presence, and your consistent effort command the world's attention. The quieter you move, the more powerful your influence becomes. Chapter 8. Resilience in Silence. Have you ever watched a tree endure a storm? Its branches bend, its leaves shake violently, yet its roots hold firm beneath the surface, unseen and unshaken. When the storm passes, the tree remains, stronger and more grounded than before. This is the essence of resilience in silence, the ability to withstand, endure, and grow quietly without needing validation, applause, or recognition. Life often tests us, not with gentle no-dos, but with relentless challenges that demand more than skill. They demand patience, inner strength, and the courage to persist without an audience. Resilience in silence is the art of maintaining focus and determination while the world judges, misunderstands, or overlooks your efforts. It is the quiet conviction that your work, your growth, and your purpose do not require constant approval. Consider the athlete who trains before dawn when no one is watching. Every repetition, every drill, every incremental improvement is performed without expectation of immediate praise. The work is unseen, the effort unacknowledged, yet each day builds strength, endurance, and skill. The resilience cultivated in these quiet hours becomes unstoppable, revealed only when the performance is complete. Silence and resilience are partners. Noise, complaints, and constant explanation drain energy. They fragment focus. But when you practice resilience in silence, every challenge becomes a training ground. Every obstacle becomes a teacher. Every setback is a hidden opportunity to deepen your skill, sharpen your mind, and fortify your spirit. The world may not notice, and that is precisely the point. You are not performing for recognition, you are preparing for mastery. Resilience in silence requires trust in the unseen. It demands faith in your capacity to endure, even when results are not immediately visible. It asks you to embrace discomfort, to persist through frustration, and to continue even when progress seems invisible. This is where character is forged. This is where your foundation becomes unshakable. Think of the quiet innovators, the unsung heroes, the individuals whose persistence, patience, and silent effort eventually reshaped industries, communities, and lives. They did not announce every struggle. They did not ask for validation. They endured, they learned, they grew, and when the time came, their results spoke so loudly that the world could no longer ignore them. Resilience in silence also teaches emotional discipline. When challenges arise, the instinct is often to complain, justify, or seek support. But those who endure quietly learn to channel their emotions into action rather than words. Anger becomes focus. Frustration becomes motivation. Disappointment becomes determination. The inner storm is transformed into the engine of progress, invisible yet immensely powerful. There is a humility in this practice as well. Resilient silence is not about pride or stubbornness. It is about alignment with your purpose. You work steadily, trusting the process, confident that the results will eventually manifest. This humility is not weakness, it is strategic strength. It is the quiet acknowledgement that mastery, influence, and success are cultivated over time, often beyond the perception of others. Silence also preserves energy. Every word spoken, every debate engaged, every reaction offered consumes power. Resilient individuals know that their energy is precious, and they invest it where it matters most, in disciplined action, in preparation, in the invisible work that compounds over time. By moving through life quietly but resolutely, they conserve their strength for the moments that truly demand it. Another dimension of resilience in silence is perspective. Life is filled with noise, distractions, and opinion. By practicing quiet endurance, you create space to see clearly, to think deeply, and to make better decisions. You are not swayed by external pressure or fleeting judgments. Instead, you respond deliberately, guided by principle rather than impulse, by vision rather than validation. Resilience in silence is not passive, it is active, intentional, and deeply strategic. It is the willingness to persist, to endure, and to grow, even when the world offers no applause or acknowledgement. It is the recognition that your life, your work, and your achievements are ultimately defined by your commitment to persevere, not by the fleeting opinions of others. Every challenge you face in quiet determination strengthens the unseen foundation of your future. Each day of disciplined effort, each moment of patience, each silent victory contributes to an inner strength that cannot be measured externally. And when the world finally witnesses the results, they will appear effortless, yet they are the product of resilience, honed in quiet, invisible struggle. In the next chapter, we will explore the principle of mastery through invisibility, how consistent, silent focus not only builds resilience, but transforms your skill, your influence, and your ability to achieve extraordinary outcomes without fanfare or announcement. You will learn how the greatest achievements are often the ones nobody sees until the moment of undeniable impact. For now, embrace this truth: resilience in silence is your secret strength. Bend without breaking. Endure without complaint. Persist without recognition. And know that every quiet effort, every patient choice, and every unseen step brings you closer to the life you are destined to create. Chapter 9: Mastery Through Invisibility. Have you ever watched a clockwork mechanism operate? Every gear turning silently, every spring working in perfect harmony, yet no one notices until the hour strikes. Mastery often functions in the same way. The work, the practice, the refinement, it is largely invisible. Yet when the moment of impact arrives, the results are unmistakable, precise, and transformative. This is mastery through invisibility, the art of perfecting your craft quietly, without fanfare, until your skill speaks for itself. The world is enamored with spectacle. It celebrates announcements, broadcasts, and immediate visibility. But true mastery is forged in the quiet hours, in the repetition nobody applauds, in the patience nobody admires. It is honed when no one is watching, sharpened through focus rather than recognition, and perfected in silence rather than spectacle. Think of the violinist who practices scales for hours in a dim room, long before the audience hears the first note. The entrepreneur who studies market trends in solitude, long before any investor sees the plan. The writer who crafts sentence after sentence, paragraph after paragraph, refining ideas in quiet before the world ever reads them. These acts may seem small, unseen, or insignificant, yet they build mastery that cannot be rushed or replicated overnight. Invisibility is not weakness, it is strategy. By working quietly, you protect your energy, maintain focus, and allow your craft to develop without distraction. Each unnoticed effort compounds, layering skill upon skill, understanding upon understanding, until the moment arrives when the results are undeniable. At that moment, the world cannot ignore what you have created, and it is precisely the invisibility of the preparation that makes the achievement so powerful. Mastery through invisibility also teaches humility. You learn to measure success by personal growth, by the refinement of skill, and by the internal satisfaction of progress, not by external validation. The applause may come, or it may not, but it does not dictate the value of the work. This perspective strengthens character, sharpens focus, and cultivates an independence that the loudest praise can never provide. There is also freedom in invisibility. When your progress is hidden, you are free to experiment, to fail, to iterate without judgment. Every mistake becomes a lesson. Every adjustment becomes insight. Every quiet moment becomes a step forward. Visibility often brings pressure, expectation, and scrutiny. Invisibility allows you to explore fully, to perfect fully, and to emerge ready for impact, unshaken by premature evaluation. Consider the natural world. The caterpillar works silently, consuming leaves, building strength, transforming itself in private. The butterfly emerges, and its beauty astonishes. No one observed the transformation directly, yet the result is profound and undeniable. Mastery like this metamorphosis requires patience, quiet diligence, and trust in the unseen process. Invisibility also cultivates focus. When the eyes of the world are not upon you, you are free to align your actions with your highest intentions. You work according to principle, not praise. You follow vision, not validation. You invest in long-term results, not short-term recognition. The skill you develop quietly becomes a force that shapes outcomes in ways words cannot predict or control. This principle applies not only to skill, but also to influence, leadership, and achievement. The quiet leader earns respect through consistent competence. The silent innovator gains authority through results, rather than announcements. The discreet thinker shapes ideas and strategy without the need for constant acknowledgement. When the culmination of their efforts becomes visible, it commands attention precisely because it was cultivated invisibly. Mastery through invisibility also strengthens resilience. When work is unseen, setbacks do not diminish your spirit, and criticism does not derail your focus. You are anchored in the process itself, not the reactions of others. You learn to endure, adapt, and grow, trusting that the compound effect of persistent effort will eventually manifest in excellence. It is worth noting that invisibility does not mean isolation. Collaboration, learning, and mentorship remain important, but the cultivation of skill, the honing of craft, and the refinement of personal excellence are ultimately internal, often performed in solitude, without announcement, without expectation. It is in these quiet moments that the true foundation of mastery is built. By embracing invisibility, you also guard against distraction. The loudest voices, the flashiest opinions, the constant comparison, they fade in relevance when your attention is invested fully in the work itself. Every hour devoted, every repetition performed, every detail refined becomes a stepping stone toward mastery. The unseen labor is the engine that drives visible success. As you internalize this principle, you begin to perceive progress differently. You recognize that immediate acknowledgement is irrelevant. The visible outcomes are only the tip of the iceberg. Beneath the surface lies the deep structure of competence, character, and preparedness, formed through quiet, invisible effort. You learn to trust the process, respect the practice, and honor the unseen work that ultimately creates undeniable results. In the next and final chapter, we will bring all these principles together, exploring the ultimate power of silent action, how focus, patience, resilience, and mastery combine to allow you to win in public, while never revealing all of your method. You will discover how the unseen foundation you build today becomes the unstoppable momentum of tomorrow. For now, hold this truth close. True mastery is invisible. It grows quietly, steadily, and deliberately. It demands patience, discipline, and trust in the process. When the time comes for your work to speak, it will do so with authority, precision, and impact, proving that silence, focus, and unseen effort are the greatest allies of extraordinary achievement. Chapter 10. Win in public. Work in silence. The world loves spectacle. It celebrates announcements, promotions, and loud declarations of intent. But the truth is far simpler, far more powerful. Those who win in public often do so because they worked in silence first. They cultivated focus, resilience, mastery, and influence quietly, patiently, without the need for validation. And when the results emerge, the impact is undeniable. Winning in public is not about showing off. It is about arriving fully prepared. It is about letting your results speak louder than your words ever could. The applause, recognition, and success are the natural consequences of disciplined, silent action, not the goal itself. This is the final principle of the journey we've been exploring, the power of quiet preparation combined with visible achievement. Imagine an iceberg. The massive structure beneath the surface goes largely unseen, while above water, only a small portion is visible. Yet it is the hidden mass that determines the strength, stability, and influence of the iceberg. So it is with your life, your work, and your achievements. Your silent hours, your unseen effort, your relentless focus, these are the foundation. The victories you eventually display in public are only the tip, the visible manifestation of the work done in private. Every principle we've explored, silence, focus, resilience, invisible mastery, influence without words, converges here. They are not separate lessons, they are interconnected. Together, they form a powerful strategy. Work without distraction, refine your skills without announcement, endure without complaint, and cultivate influence without proclamation. And then, when the moment arrives, your results will speak so loudly that no one can ignore them. There is an elegance to this approach. It frees you from the tyranny of opinion, from the need to justify, to explain, or to compete in the arena of constant commentary. Instead, you move with intentionality. You let your actions align with your highest values and your deepest goals. The world will eventually notice, not because you demanded attention, but because excellence always commands it. Think of the artist who spends years perfecting a single piece, the entrepreneur who silently builds a business step by step, the writer who revises every sentence until it sings. These people do not announce their labor to the world. They work, they persist, and then they release their results. And when they do, the impact is not just immediate, it is lasting. Winning in public, while working in silence, requires patience. It requires trust in the process, in the unseen hours of effort, and in the compound effect of consistency. It requires faith that the world will recognize the value of your work in its own time. And above all, it requires the discipline to resist the urge to perform prematurely, to resist the temptation to seek approval before the work is fully ready. There is a subtle power in this method. By working quietly, you preserve your energy, maintain your focus, and refine your craft without distraction. You protect your vision from the noise of criticism and comparison. You give yourself the freedom to fail, to iterate, and to grow in ways that public scrutiny would never allow. And the results of this invisible effort, when finally revealed, are both remarkable and unstoppable. Winning in public is also deeply fulfilling. There is no need to prove yourself to others, because you already know the value of your work. Recognition becomes a bonus, not a requirement, and the satisfaction of seeing your disciplined, silent effort culminate in tangible achievement brings a confidence and peace that no external validation can ever match. This principle applies in every area of life, whether it is career, relationships, health, or personal growth. The combination of private effort and public impact is transformative. It creates a momentum that carries you forward, a momentum built not on noise or hype, but on consistent, deliberate action. You become the person who others admire, not because you spoke about your goals, but because your life demonstrates them with clarity, power, and integrity. As you embrace this final lesson, remember, silence is not absence, and invisibility is not irrelevant. Every quiet step, every patient hour, every unseen effort contributes to the foundation of your public victory. Every act of focus, resilience, and mastery compounds over time, until the moment comes when the results cannot be denied. So take a deep breath and commit to working in silence. Focus relentlessly on what matters, endure without complaint, master your craft without announcement, influence through presence, not proclamation. And trust that when the time is right, the world will see the fruits of your labor, and they will be extraordinary. This is the path of the quietly powerful, the ones who understand that real success is not a performance for applause, but a reflection of invisible effort, internal growth, and unwavering focus. Work in silence, win in public, let your life be the proof. And now, as you close this chapter and step forward, carry this truth with you. The unseen work you do today is the unstoppable momentum of your tomorrow. Every silent choice, every disciplined action, every patient hour is building the life you are destined to live. The moment will come when your results rise above the noise, and when they do, the world will recognize not just what you have achieved, but the quiet power, resilience, and mastery that made it possible. This is your journey. This is your principle. Work quietly, prepare relentlessly, and when the time comes, step into your victory with the confidence that it has been earned, silently and deliberately, all along.